Hello guys, so if you own Italia Ultra scooter and it doesn't matter if it's a brand new scooter that you received or if it's a used scooter that you've been using for a while and suddenly you lost power, completely lost power on that scooter. So here's what to check first. Obviously when you plug in charger, it does not switch from green to red like it's supposed to. You turn on the ignition, nothing comes on display. Obviously you have to start with checking basic stuff, which is your breaker switch. So make sure that's in an on position, and you will see a little on and off label stamped on the bottom of on the side of the switch, let's say that, and you will feel the resistance under your finger where the on is. Well, next would be to check if your plug is plugged in all the way, because if it's plugged in only halfway, there will be no contact and this plug. And the last would be the connection from outside, the basic ones. Check if you have both pins are attached, nothing is pulled out, and same with this bottom plug. And if you will look closely, you already can see that one of the connector is out and one of them is deep, which is telling me that there is no connection. So let me show you how to fix that. You unplug the top battery pack and lift it up, and now you have more access to the bottom plug. And see, the problem is that one of the connector is not clicked in all the way. That could be because of there is a locking tabs on each side of this round pin, and if you'll take just a knife or a small screwdriver and pry it out. I hope you can see it on that camera and the focus is okay. So this is what you have to do, just pry out on both sides those locking tabs. And now you need to click it in place. And that's it. Both of them now sticking out. So let's try if that was the main problem or not. So you can only click this male and female plug in one position, and there is a slot in the middle of the plug. And that's how it's supposed to go. So make sure that's, maybe it's a little bit tight place. Make sure you hear that click and try to pull up that plug so it stays in place, just to verify if it's have a good connection. Now we plug in this plug, and now we turn on the breaker switch, and there you go, we have a power back. Now in some really rare cases it could be the problem with the actual breaker switch, because two wires are going into that breaker switch on one on each side. Maybe that wire came out. So let me show you really quick what needs to be done if previous tips did not help you. So you will need to remove those two bolts. It's a 10mm socket. Everything is in metric in this scooter, so that you know. Okay, 1, 2. And then you have two more on the bottom. So you need to get to those. So you will need to remove those two bolts on the bottom. And now you will need to lift up the entire plastic tray, wiggle it a little bit out, remove this L-shaped plug, and gently try to hold it with your one hand and check if those wires are attached to each side of the breaker switch. And if there's nothing wrong and you actually can wiggle wires and they are pretty firm, the next step would be either to test the breaker switch for continuity, because maybe this switch is faulty internally and it's not visible from outside. So the easiest way would be if you will take a screwdriver and just one second, let me get a screwdriver. Take a screwdriver, go from the top of the switch, loosen those two wires on each side. Now you don't need this anymore at the moment, and you will need to reconnect those two wires together. In the meantime, that's how you override the actual breaker switch. You're just going to connect them together. Most likely you will need some kind of electrical connector, or at least have some electrical tape over, so it's going to be a really good firm contact. And only after that you can, let me show you example. So we have those two battery packs. Connect to each other. Okay, and now we have a scooter plug going into the battery pack. And now we turn on the ignition switch, and now we're going to touch those two wires together. If the display will power on, that means the switch is defective. This would be the easiest way. Now, most likely you're going to see a little spark, don't be surprised. So, there you go. So this confirms that the breaker switch is actually defective, because the wires were not loose inside of the switch, and there's nothing wrong with batteries. So again, this is the easiest way how you test if the problem was a breaker switch, or maybe in really rare cases something else. Thank you.